Hi, this is Mark Littleton, the minister of the Word for the Athens Church of Christ, with today's 3-minute sermon. In my opinion, one of the most remarkable people that we read about in the Bible is the Apostle Paul. And one of the most remarkable things Paul ever wrote is found in a passage I want to share with you today. It's found in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, beginning in verse 16. Paul says, "So we do not lose heart. Though our outer self is wasting away, our inner self is being renewed day by day." Paul says we look on the outside and we know that our bodies are decaying. We're getting older. We're not going to be on this earth forever. And yet he says while we see that externally, it's possible, though, for our inner man, our inner self, to be renewed day by day. And then Paul says this in verse 17. He says, "For this light, momentary affliction is preparing for us an eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison." Paul says this light, momentary affliction. If you know anything about Paul's life, you know that the affliction he went through from a human perspective was anything but light and momentary. It was constant and it was hard. So how could Paul look at that and say that that affliction was light and momentary? Keep reading in verse 18. He says, "That's the case as we look not to the things that are seen, but to the things that are unseen. For the things that are seen are transient, but the things that are unseen are eternal." The reason Paul could say that even though our outer man is decaying, our outer self is decaying, we can be renewed internally. The reason he could say that the affliction he was suffering was light and momentary was because he wasn't looking at it from a human perspective. He was looking at it from an eternal perspective. And those are two far, far different things. Most of the time, I get into trouble in my life when I begin to look at things just from a human perspective. And so here's my challenge to you today. If you're a Christ follower, or if maybe you've kind of thought about Jesus, but you're not really a Christ follower, my challenge to you is this: begin to look at your life and begin to look at the world with an eternal perspective. I bet that'll change the way you see things. I bet that'll change the way you view your own life, because God sees things far different than we do. Lord willing, I hope you'll join us again tomorrow for another 3-minute sermon. Have a blessed day.